Hey guys, Brad here, and today we're going to be talking a little bit more about how to effectively implement a system to generate nonstop referrals in your health practice. We're going to be going through a couple different topics today, and first we're going to talk a little bit more about what a referral system is. And really what the referral system is a way for you to get consistent, nonstop referrals coming into your practice. And when we're talking about referrals, we're talking about referrals generated from current patient base. So how we can really do this and why it's really important is so that you obviously are leveraging the current patients that you have who know, like, and trust you, have been getting really good results with your services, and getting them to share their experiences with other people who they might be colleagues, friends, family, and so on, and ultimately getting them to come into your world. So a couple things happen with referrals. One, they're pretty much guaranteed to invest in your services because they've got somebody else vouching for you. So they're higher quality, they're more likely to convert and be more compliant. They're also going to decrease your acquisition cost for patients. So for example, if I have one patient who comes to my health practice and I don't get a referral and it costs me, let's say, $50 to get that one patient. And on the other side, I've got one patient who comes in, it costs me $50, but they bring me another person. Now, all of a sudden, that costs $25 if you split because they brought you someone else. So what that allows you to do is save more money and leverage your marketing spend. So it's an absolute crucial thing to be able to install first is a referral-based system because it doesn't really cost you anything. If you look at the video from the group a couple of days ago, it doesn't cost you anything to really install, and it gives you a lot of benefit in terms of higher quality patients as well as decreasing your marketing spend. So how we can do that is by first understanding why people don't refer in the first place and why they do. So a couple reasons why, there's quite a few, but the top three that I really see are, number one, the patient doesn't know how to refer in the first place. So it's not like there was anything specific about, okay, this is the exact process on how to do it. Often people are very vague, and when they ask for a referral, they simply just say, hey, do you know anyone else that wants to come in? Or, here's my business card, give it to someone that you know. There's not an actual specific easy path for the patient to be able to bring someone to you. And often if they've got to do a lot of the work, chances are they're probably not going to go above and beyond in order to bring someone to you. So the first step is really making it easy for them and having a clear path for them to be able to do it, so that they understand the path is very simple, it's easy for them, and there's no reason for them to say, I don't have time or whatever it might be. And the second one is they really don't understand why referrals are important. So the unfortunate thing is that often people think once you open a business, people just line up and you've got a whole bunch of new clients or patients. And the reality is we know that's just not the case. So often they don't really understand or think that it's important. So part of your responsibility, especially when you first meet someone or onboard them in a consultation or as a new patient, is to really explain the culture and why referrals are important and why we're investing in our time to be able to, and resources to be able to help facilitate that. And there's a couple of things when you start transitioning towards having a great culture is people will end up going above and beyond, and it's in the back of their head to wanting to help you out, especially as a small business. So if you're explaining some of the reasons as to why, and that you really are building a referral culture and a tight-knit community, it's going to be significantly easier for the patients to understand why it's super important. And obviously they want you to be successful and stay in business so that you can help them and they don't have to go somewhere else. And one of the third things is that they had referred someone before, but the big problem with that was the person they referred didn't get the best service possible. So if we've referred someone and the person that I referred didn't get great service, it makes me look bad. And that can create friction between relationships or friends, family, whatever it is. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be rude to them or anything like that. It just might be something as simple as I've seen, dealing with some clients, is that they actually don't prioritize referrals because that person, is not a premium client, and they're going to take someone who's been coming to them for years over referral. So they actually treat them differently. And that's, doesn't set a good first impression for someone who is excited to come in and obviously doesn't show that you value the referral as much as if you, treated them exactly the same, if not maybe even better than a current paying patient. So really being able to set the playing field as level, explaining to the patient that you're asking the referral from, listen, we're going to treat them just like a brand new client, paying client, no matter what. And I'm going to cherish the referrals, and this is really important to our relationship. So if you position it that way, and they trust you, they're more than likely to give it a little bit more benefit. But just know in the back of their head, sometimes that's why people don't refer. They think, well, I've referred someone before, they didn't have a good experience, or I've referred and they had a bad experience, they didn't get the result, or they were sales pitched, or whatever it was. So just keep that in the back of your head. So those three things that you really want to incorporate into your system to overcome those objections are making sure that there's an easy system and patients know how to refer. You want to make sure that there's the system in place so that they understand the importance of why referrals are crucial to your growth of the health practice from a cultural as well as a financial standpoint. And then you also want to make sure that they truly understand that you're going to take care of them, and that at the end of the day, you've got their best interests in mind, and you're going to help them in any way possible. And if for some reason you can't help them, you're going to take the best care possible and refer them perhaps to someone else who can help them a little bit better with their specific issue. So part of creating that system is first understanding why and overcoming some of those objections. Because if you don't start there first, what you end up getting is just hit with resistance. And once you start, implementing the systems to address those concerns, you'll end up having a lot more referrals generated just because you're starting to change the culture. So the first step really is in getting the system going after that is embedding it into the patient journey. So you want to start right from when you're doing a consultation, right from when you're first talking to someone, explaining a little bit about your business and what you guys do. It is really telling them right from the beginning, during this process, we're a really tight-knit community, we're like family, and ultimately, once you start getting results from us and you're starting to see progress, we're going to be asking you for referrals. We also do different campaigns where you have an opportunity to bring friends or family to workshops or events, or even just winning specific gifts or whatnot you might have for a campaign. So instilling it into their head and telling them, listen, we're going to be asking you for your referrals during the process of your time here is going to be already subconsciously starting to tell them, this is important. I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make is they actually don't ask for a referral right away. And there's different people's opinions, and they'll say, well, the person needs to get results from me first and so on. The reality is if you do a really good intake and your marketing is accurate and you're actually triage feeding people, so they're not just walking in and booking an appointment with you, but you're actually spending time to go through their health history, understand, what problems have they had, who have they seen before, what results have they not achieved, and really why do they want them from that deeper level. You've already bonded with them and you've connected with them in a way that's completely different than anyone else. Doing that alone is going to decommoditize yourself because, not many therapists that I've seen have ever really done that. So when you ask for the referral right away, you start that relationship embedding the journey. And often what you're going to get is majority of people will actually give you someone to connect. And you got to think of it this way. They just found someone who could help them with the problem that they may have had for a long period of time. You're getting them out of pain, or you're helping them get back to running, or whatever it is. And they're excited. They've felt some relief. They've gotten some progress. It's a perfect time while they're excited and starting in that relationship to be able to ask. So I 100% of the time always ask for a referral right off after the first appointment, discovery visit, consultation, whichever phase or term you use for that. The next thing is you want to, with that journey, is you want to be able to automate it to a degree. So I'm not saying that your computer system or your CRM system is going to do it all for you, but it's going to set you reminders. So let's say someone signed up for 18 sessions and I asked for a referral in the first. They started to see some progress after the first month. I might ask for a referral at that point. I might ask them maybe even for a share a success story or a testimonial, depending on their progress and what you've given them as a plan of care. But I might ask them, again, chances of me, especially if you've got more than one practitioner, you've got hundreds of clients and you've got a lot of things going, having an automated system where an email goes out, maybe to yourself, maybe to the front desk that says, ask Joe for a referral this week. Something like that's going to keep it on top of mind and allow you to be able to implement that into your basic conversations and day-to-day strategies. If not, what happens is people forget and they end up never asking. Well, if you don't ask, you're never going to get anyone. So you got to constantly stay on top. As you start to grow your business, using things like CRM, delegating that out to your front desk or your customer service-based staff is going to be a huge component. So for us, we like to use the front desk, and they'll actually do service calls, following up with people, and do service calls where they ask, following up on whoever might be the most qualified prospect to bring in. And we do other campaigns where we give people gold medal business cards that will give them complimentary visits and different offers like that. So we're positioning ourselves slightly differently, and then we're assigning a follow-up system in order to capture those referrals. So the referrals systemization and the automation is going to help you huge. And then you really want to look at creating that culture. So I talked a little bit about this before, and part of the culture has to do with explaining why the referrals are important in the first place and getting the patients to understand from that level. And not only the patients, but you've got to get the staff too. And often I've been in places where the therapists or the front desk are nervous to ask for a referral because they feel like they're intruding. So you've got to have a system in place, especially in your onboarding process of new therapists or front desk or sales or whatever the role it is. They've got to understand why referrals are important to the culture. They've got to understand it from the financial standpoint, how they get paid, how we grow the business, how we keep a family of people that are very similar, as opposed to having to blast out and get anyone and everyone that come in. And once you explain that and they're on board with it, and you give them scripts and work with them on the communications between being successful and asking for these referrals, you're going to end up getting staff on board significantly more, and they're going to make it part of their days and objectives in order to generate these referrals. We actually, for a therapist standpoint, we will assign as part of the scorecard, essentially what we track each of our therapists on. We actually give them the referral goal per week, per month, in order to grow their portion of the business and make sure that we're getting the best results possible. So one big thing is, having it as an evergreen where you're going to ask people and you embed it into the journey. So what we also do to supplement that is we plan out campaigns for referrals. And I'll give you two of them. There's probably 12 or so that we use, and we use them a bit in the modules that we go through in terms of the 90-day surge program. And the two ones that work really well are doing a workshop and family and friend based event. So if you've got some space and you've got a larger amount of clients, it's really beneficial to have a night. And even if you're a solo practitioner, what we've done is sometimes they'll rent a room somewhere. They'll be able to rent a room or a hall or some place to be able to bring their clients to. It doesn't really cost that much money. You can get some basic catering done or whatever. It might cost you $200 or $300, but ultimately, if you end up bringing in a large amount of clients, it's going to be super beneficial. So a workshop or family or friends where you're giving the offer to your patients to come in and do these events, but also bring a colleague and incentivizing them to do it is huge. So ourselves, we would run generally private events for family and friends, and we'd have a specific like open house or something along those lines where people could come in, take advantage of different treatment options or training, corrective exercise, foam rolling, stretching, that type of stuff. So they would bring other colleagues, family, friend members in, and so on. And then what we do is give each one of those prospects that came in. So not the patients, because they've already been through it, but the prospects, we're actually going to give them our material. So we would give them our reports or books. We would give them other materials, so like low back pain seminar. We would give them low back pain exercises that they could do, as well as the complimentary consultations where we come in and do a little bit more strategic and tactical look at what's going to help them get out of pain and get back to whatever goal it is. So they end up leaving with a gift bag. We've done baskets or boxes and bags and so on, logistically, whatever you want to play with. And we give them a bunch of stuff that they can take away. So that ultimately, it's not like I'm coming in and being sales pitched. I'm providing a shit ton of value. I'm giving you something that you can take away, reference, on your own kind of thing, building more value with them. And then we're going to reach out and do those service calls to get people booked in. So that's one thing that's worked really, really well. The next is simply just giving a referral campaign and giving an offer. So we've given away for an iPad, for example, and people are more motivated to give referrals for like an iPad. The one thing with this is you need to make sure you set some ground rules. So you've got to track the referrals that they're giving you, and they've got to meet certain criteria. So, I mean, it's your campaign, you set the rules. And what we really do is the person, they can't just write on a piece of paper and give us a lead. They've got to actually connect us on an email, and we've got to get that person on the phone and booked in for an appointment in order to qualify them to enter for the draw. Otherwise, people are just going to give you tons of leads that are not really the best. So with those systems, we plan them out during the year. Again, we systematize them so that we know if we're going to run a workshop with family and friends, we've got a system to be able to capture those leads coming in. We've got a back end to be able to nurture or follow up with those people. And ultimately, they're in your pipeline, and eventually they will come through. So we go through more of the systematization, there we go, in the 90-day Surge module program. So you can basically just drag and drop it, swipe file, and you can replicate what's worked for us and some of the other health practices that we work with. So those are really the big things there. Is you've got to make sure that you've got an automated and systematized both front end and back end with everything that you do in terms of this referral campaign. The first one that you got to nail is you got to embed it into your patient journey so that every person who comes in, you're getting some sort of referral from them, and you're following up with them to ensure that they are giving you referrals. And then you also want to create campaigns during the year where you're able to incentivize referrals, whether that's a draw for like an iPad or you're doing a live event, workshop with family and friends and so on. So there's just a couple strategies that you can utilize. Again, we talk a little bit more about it in our other modules, but I'm hopeful that this video will give you a little bit more insight and some ideas that you can use right away that are really easy to implement based on some of the suggestions. So if you have any questions about this video or how to set up a system for you or whatnot, leave a comment below or send me a DM. And what we'll do is we can schedule a time for us to chat, generally about 30-40 minutes, just talk a little bit more about your business and see about what's the best strategy about setting up your referral-based system to get new patients to come to you on Autopilot every month, and start to merge your culture so that ultimately you're able to get these new patients and build a tighter knit family culture while reducing the amount of money it costs to acquire clients that ultimately you can put back into your business and grow. So thanks again, and leave a comment below and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks.